here to be part of the national conversation.
It's important to get involved in this conversation at this point in time because there's so much happening around us.
Having better conversations to really look at how do you get people talking to each other who might see the world totally differently.
How do we continue to build more communities into the conversation to touch on issues that affect Canadians writ large?
We want to ask you to write down, imagining a world of your children's children. What is it that makes you anxious, uneasy, angry as you anticipate the world they will be growing up into?
My concerns for the future right now is just the level of deferred responsibility that I see.
Is the environmental impact, loneliness, and inequality. So those are the three that I wrote. Poverty. That's an issue that we need to address.
What do you yearn for and what do you long to see in this world for our children's children? This again is not what you expect to see, it's what you long for, what you dream of.
I'm looking at the board and looking at our dreams and yearnings.
What I hope for is a society that values people the same way they value money.
What I hope and dream about are my two sons. Most importantly, I think about having a relatively healthy planet. So I'm interested in the regeneration of our planet and ecosystems and making them healthier, not by sustaining current practices, but regenerating and undoing the damage that humans have done to the planet.
There would be more inclusivity, I believe, as we are learning the benefit of having people with diverse experience, background, several skills come together and work together.
When I believe that the world is ready, how does this affect my attitude and my behavior?
And I really think it's going to happen. I think it's going to change in Canada.
It's in our cultural and traditional teachings that we are the living embodiments of our ancestors' prayers, traditionally for 7 generations. So when we do work in our community and I do work on myself, I think of how it's going to impact and better the next 7 generations.
I think there's also this bank of hope that every individual has that lets them be energized for the work that they're doing.
This is an extraordinary document. This kind of spiral reflects all of the answers that you gave. And in here is this core, this hot core of passion that's in this room. We have intentionality, focus, and drive. We are determined. And out of this passion, you form a community. We collaborate. We make strong relationships. We are not afraid when we dare to believe. We are brimming love. We are overflowing hope. We are a reason to believe.
If you look at the overall piece, when everything is pulled together, there's room for all of it. There's room for those of us who respond with emotion, and there's room for those of us who respond with theories and ideas and more intellectual responses. This piece is the blending of all of those pieces, and there's room for all of it.
It's like we're seeing ourselves in a way that resonates with each person, and yet we would have never had the ability to articulate it. It's just like the work we do with an individual and helping them see themselves in their place in the world. That's exactly what you're doing. Very touching. Thank you.
We never imagined that over the last 3 days, we would have had the opportunity to see people come up, look at their words, and be moved to tears. We saw people reading small text to each other, and we saw them challenging each other to think about what else would happen if some of these things actually are true. There is a tradition that says that sometimes there is a calling that calls to you, there is a need that has to happen, and the response to that calling is to stand up and say the words, "I am here." And all of you, in contributing into this, have done just that. You have stood and you have said, "I am here." Take a look at the people across your table. Look at who you're sitting with. They are here. Now, if I can ask you, Stand up and look across this room, a room that many of you have come and described to us as a family. We are here, and I think that is enormous cause for us to celebrate.
This is a graphical representation of what are in their mind, the members' mind.
I hope to dream about my two
to teach them now.
sons.
I mean, they're still little.
Most importantly, I think about having like a relatively
okay, if you're
healthy
passionate
planet.
about this,
So
continue
I'm
on with
interested
this.
in,
So that way they can build their own community and be of some help in some way.
Il ne s'agit pas de s'impliquer pour faire un monde meilleur. Ça fait 20 000 ans que le monde cherche et qui devient meilleur. Ça fait 20 000 ans que le monde est de plus en plus meilleur. L'important, c'est de trouver son intention dans la vie aujourd'hui.